And preparing our alternative channels. Okay, I think we are live on all channels, right? Okay, I think we are live everywhere. I think we are. I think we are. So, welcome to day 2 of the Take Action Challenge. So, the beautiful thing about life is life be lifing. Life be lifing, and all we can do is keep going, keep going. So obviously we had this 2-day take action challenge, and life happened. And so what we get to do, we just get to keep going. We get to follow through on our commitments, and we keep showing up. Obviously, I was not hoping to be on the go in order to do this take action challenge. And I also thought the band would be here, but I'm my own tech person too. So as you come in, I know yesterday I'll do a quick debrief for the people just in case somebody's catching today and they didn't see yesterday. An introduction of what the take action challenge is and why it's so important to take action and don't overthink. Just take action and don't overthink, right? And so I'll do a brief overview. But while we are, uh, I want to start seeing, how did you do over the last 24 hours? How did everything go? Post in the comment, what worked? What did you take action on? What feelings came up? How do you improve? Because again, life is about just taking action and moving forward, and like I was saying, like I'm in a car. I'm hoping that my Wi-Fi stays up. The van had, he's helping his family move. They're in Jamaica. Like it's so many things happening. But the most important thing in life is that we keep our commitments and we follow through and we show up. Right? It's all about just being our best, doing our best that we can, and moving forward. Right? And so, uh, before I get into the content of this video today, what would your life look like if you kept momentum? What would your life look like if you kept momentum? Because at the end of the day, as we go through life, we get bigger breakthroughs. We get more aligned with our true, authentic selves. And we find out more that we can do. So I was laughing at myself as I was preparing for today because I'm like, man, I'm not only not the tech person, Devan is the tech person. And, I'm thinking like, I'm literally going to do an event because to us, like, this is our job. Like, this is like a work that we do. We do our best to support people and give them, content and value. And so I'm like, I'm really going to be working in my car, or, my mom's in the car with me, but I'm literally going to be working and she's driving because we have other commitments, we have other plans, but I do not show up after planning this. Yes, I have other commitments, I have other timelines, and I can do it all. So it's funny because I think of the time in my life. I remember when I first started going live on social media, for example, and I used to be so terrified. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I did not like going live. And now I'm just thinking of all the social media lives, all the events that we do for our community, and just everything. And I'm really thinking of, you know, my biggest worry concern for today is that my internet continues to work. I'm not worried about my content because we prepared it. I knew what this event was going to be about. I did fine tune it right before I went live, to make it relevant. Like, this is real life. Y'all are seeing me going live right now from my car, and this was not the plan yesterday. I had no idea. And so I'm just thinking, it's not about, me going live. Even the technology. This is my first time doing all the technology and stuff, but because I have some experience with the technology of, even though I haven't done it on this platform, and I hope I am it'd be the funniest thing if I think I'm live and I think I'm like recording and everything, and then it doesn't go. That'd be so funny. But we just laugh at it. But I see that it says it's recording everything. But because I do have a foundation of how to do some of this, what it takes to actually, do a live or do an event, I wasn't worried about that. I'm like, okay, I get to just make sure that the internet works, and I get to make sure that I'm being authentic and I'm being transparent as we are talking about the Take Action Challenge and being messy and doing life and follow through on our commitments. It's not about what it looks like. It's my intention and the purpose of really empowering people to follow through and be themselves. So let me see. And I probably won't see all the comments. And I know that there may be people on different, because I am streaming to different platforms. So I can't really see everything or everybody. But again, I would love to know, in the last 24 hours, we challenged y'all to know what is one thing that you could have committed to and completed within the last 24 hours. And then as you think about that, what was it that you did? Was it a big task? Was it a small task? What worked? Like, what do you feel looking back after completing that? What commitment? What worked for you? What didn't work? What do in the future, you're like, man, I know I said that I was going to do this, but I want to do it differently. How can you improve? And pay attention to your feelings, right? If we are serious about self-mastery and we're serious about leading our life, it's how we stick up for ourselves in our life. And I know that's kind of like, hold on, what? But even like with the things that happen today and the new things, and just to make everything work and doing things, out of order, like me doing something from the car, this is not my environment. So is it probably going to be my best ever? Who knows? I don't know. It's subjective, but I know it's about us just not letting things get in our way and just doing the things that we said we were going to do. So I know yesterday, and I just mentioned this, we get more clear in our life and we get more confident because everything that we do and everything that we experience, we learn, and it compounds from our wisdom and our experience, right? We also talked about how accountability creates momentum, right? We get to create systems, and we also get to create, set ourselves up for success. And so setting deadlines, like if this was negotiable, if I wasn't expecting people to come meet us here, then I probably could have moved this around. But it's like when I don't have that option, who do I get to be in order to actually show up and follow through on the thing that I said? And also having those systems in place. Like I know I have a foundation or of how to use Zoom a little bit, right? Or I know how to go live. And so taking what I do know and just taking action on how I can to the best of my ability. And, as we do this more, our identities within our how we identify it changes. That's how we become more confident. That's how we become more competent, and it shifts us, and that's how we keep the momentum for lasting change. Like for me, keeping commitment to this live, and I'm just using myself not to brag or not to say, oh y'all look at me, I'm over here working from the car, I'm so cool. That's not what I'm doing. This is a perfect example of preaching what we teach, or actually like fulfilling what we teach on, and actually being examples of what we teach on, but then also to be the example in raw form for y'all to know, like, hey, it's all about just completion. It's all about just getting it done. Perfect. Some people are going to be like, oh, that was such a great message, because of the inspiration that I'm pulling from actually growing through this right now. But it's about just being a person of following through, choosing to say, hey, instead of saying, I need more discipline, I chose to be disciplined and follow through on what I said I was going to do, right? And so I'm just using myself as an example, but for the people who are sharing in the comments and saying, I did this was my goal, I completed it, and you're proud of yourself, congratulate yourself. Even if it's a small win, you get to acknowledge yourself, you get to celebrate yourself and identify yourself with this new action, right? You are a person who shows up, and even if you didn't, right, there's a lesson. We're about to get into today's content right now. It is so important that we take a moment and we reflect and we analyze on how we show up and how in the results in our life. because those results that we get in our life, when we look at our life and when we analyze and when we uh, process and think about the results that we have, it gives us feedback. It gives us like a report card to say, this is what you have. Now, do you want to keep getting this result, or do you want something different? And it's not good or bad. It's just saying like, whew, I did that really well and I want more of it, or whew, I don't really like the result of that. So how can I progress in a direction and in a way that I actually want to grow? Right. And so it gives us clarity. And the more we are clear, that's how we get the results we want. It gives us the direction, the GPS, what do you call it? Whenever you are trying to the map, it gives us directions and the map details to get to from one location to where we want to go. So when we reflect and we actually take time on how we did, that's why we did this as a 2-day event. We get to reflect on what's really working for me in my life, and that way we know and we can double down on that. When we don't analyze our progress, we're just guessing, and we are not truly optimizing. I know a lot of times, and I'll just use this one because I know this is real for a lot of us, right? When we look at our bank account, okay, when we look at our bank account, we're like, man, like I really want these numbers to be different. But if we don't look at, okay, yeah, I know it's not where I am, but look at how well I did, even if my credit score went up 1 point. Even if, well, it didn't go up, but at least it didn't go down. So, we get to look at the results, and from there we can say, uh-oh, I see it gave me that my internet is, hopefully y'all can still hear me. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. But we get to analyze and not have negative energy. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I suck. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to get it. I know there are plenty of things that it takes me a while to learn, and I have to do my best to like train myself to study, to practice it till I get good at certain things. But after and I'll use this for example, like me going live on social media, it took me a long time to just feel comfortable to just go live. Right. And I know a lot of people have that fear about public speaking, but now, even even if I'm not in my, working from my desk or whatever, I know I can go live because I've practiced it and I've sat with the emotions and I've worked through all the emotions and the trauma and the self-doubt or whatever that came up. And I know I can go live as an example. So without analyzing, we're guessing and we're not optimizing. And in order to be our best selves, we get to do things more efficiently, right? And so success leaves clues. So based on what you did yesterday, if you did it successfully, acknowledge yourself, celebrate yourself, and what worked. What did you like about the completion of that task? Or, how did it make you feel? And track that. Track that. Number 2, we also get to analyze what doesn't work. What's holding us back? So if let's say I'll just use this for an example. Let's say the goal was to go for a 10-minute walk yesterday. And let's just be extreme. Let's say you didn't do it. It's okay. It's not about blaming. It's not about shaming. It's not about guilting yourself. It's not about self-beat up. It's not about self-sabotage. It's not about any of that, right? We do that to ourselves to punish ourselves, which is a whole different life. But let's just analyze it. Let's get intimate with, why didn't I said I was going to do it. I felt good about doing the thing, the step, the task, and I didn't do it. What is holding me back? And we get to identify, of course, it's not about guilting ourselves about our distractions or our inefficiencies or about the self-sabotage. Like, we obviously know we're acknowledging, but we get to actually just think about, okay, this has not been working for me. Why do I keep doing it? And coach yourself, work with yourself, especially if you don't have a community or somebody you can trust who's actually going to support you. I believe everybody, this is definitely important for have coaches and team community. And a lot of times the answer is already within us. And there's something that we don't want to say. There's something that we don't want to feel, like we are intentionally avoiding. And so that's why we procrastinate. That's why we don't take action. That's why we hesitate, all those things. And we identify with those things, but that's not who we are. It's just that we haven't figured out how to lead ourselves effectively in despite what's happening around us, and so people tend to stay stuck and just say, well, I didn't walk, so I'll just do it tomorrow, or I'll just do it Monday, right? But it's like, okay, but what can I do now, right? How can I shift that now? And just, even if I don't go for the walk right now, but what in myself do I get to actually be intimate about if this thing isn't working, and adjust quickly, instead of just staying in, like, writing ourselves off, and also, like, not honoring ourselves. Because it's, when we think of, like, little kids, like, and I'll just use this as an example, like, if a child fell off a bike, most of the time, or I'll take it even back. If a child was walking, like learning to walk, they were going from crawling to walking. If a kid fell, we wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, just try again next week. We would say, are you okay? Are you safe? We would work with the child, like, hey, are you safe? Are you okay? You good? Okay, we'll try again. Right. And I think we forget that coaching for ourselves, and we don't even allow that much compassion or that much space for us to analyze the process for ourselves. And so reflection, it supports us in course correction. And, before the small problems. So even, like I said, just going for a walk, it can eventually become a huge issue in the future. But when we actually reflect and we actually time to analyze, why do I keep doing this? Why do I why does this keep happening? We allow ourselves to think and come up with authentic answers for ourselves. That helps us, grow towards and start to take action and acknowledge in the direction of where we want to go. All right. So, and also another reason to take time to reflect and to analyze is to stay intentional to avoid burnout. Without reflection, it's easy to be busy instead of productive. Life be life, and life be life. And but whenever we allow ourselves to stop and to slow down and say, hey, this is the goal, this is the target. Are the things that I have been doing leading me to the goal, or are they leading me away from the goal? So if my goal is I want to think of something super neutral. If my goal is to be a better painter, I'll use this as an example. If my goal is to be a better painter and I'm not painting, if I'm only painting once every 6 months, how am I going to be a better painter? So I at least get to paint maybe once a week in order to be a better painter. Or I'll use learning a second language. If I want to learn a second language or third language, I get to actually consistently take time to study the language. But sometimes and I'm talking about myself right now, I've been wanting to learn Spanish for a very long time. A very, very, very long time. And I understand it a bit, I can, like, hey, if I was in a situation, I can figure out how to get out that situation, right? But when I look at my goal of being fluent in Spanish, my life has been busy, it hasn't been a priority. So I have not been productive at learning Spanish. And so by us taking a moment to pause and reflect on, okay, what have I been focusing on? Okay, I've been focusing on my health. I've been focusing on the business. I've been focusing on, my personal development. But in all the things that I have in real time been focusing on, I have not been focusing on Spanish. So as I'm even doing this live right now, I'm helping to realize that, I have in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn Spanish one day. Well, I've been learning Spanish since high school. but I have not been intentional to be fluent. Like in my heart, I feel like, oh, I want to be fluent in Spanish, but I'm not doing any of the things to actually be fluent in Spanish. I don't listen to the app. I don't get on the app every day. There was a stretch when I did, but I don't get on the app every day, or at least a couple times a week. I don't watch or listen to the things in Spanish. So it's like, why am I keep saying this goal like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn a second language, but I'm not actually doing the things that are in line with actually creating the result of learning Spanish, right? So whenever we take a moment and we take the moment to reflect and to analyze and to think through, okay, well, this is the goal that I keep saying. I get to realign actions with this goal. So that way I can make real progress. That's how it works. I can't keep saying I'm going to learn Spanish, but I don't ever make it a priority to intentionally study the language in order. Because, I mean, unless somebody can come and osmosis put their hand on my head and all of a sudden I know how to speak Spanish, I don't think that that's out there. I mean, I'm pretty sure if somebody may be selling that, but I haven't learned that's how people learn a second language. The way that I know is I get to do the work. I get to sit down and be intentional, whether it's 5 minutes a day or can do the Duolingo app. I know most of us probably got that app. And I get to be intentional to make progress on that goal. Because one thing I know for sure is when winners, people who win in life, people who are successful, they don't work hard. They don't just work hard. They also work smart. So we don't get to being burnout, being self beat up, being self doubt by saying like, oh, I keep failing at this goal. But we know also we have not been doing the work to have the goal. So whenever we consistently analyze, refine, and improve, because that's how we make progress. That's how we get to our goal. Because success isn't always about doing more. It's not. It's not about doing more. It doesn't. We don't need to do more. And I know that's something that Devan and myself, we're being super intentional with our business strategy and our in our community, and even with myself. I'm really being super intentional on what I'm putting my energy, my focus, and my time into this year, right? So it's not about doing more. It's about doing what actually works. And one thing we 100% cannot do, we cannot keep saying we want to go, but we're not doing the things, we're not taking the actions, we're not implementing, we're not executing in the direction that we want to go. Okay. So also, the journey of progress is also about locking in that progress. It's also about looking at the long-term wins, right? Whenever we are on this journey of self-mastery, whenever we are growing and progressing, it takes transformation. And that's how transformation happens. It's about being different. I don't know about you, but I remember growing up, and people used to be like, oh, I'm the same. Nothing never changed. And it was a cool thing. But now as an adult, I'm like, I probably somewhere in my paradigm, the reason why I have fought myself on some things that I know that didn't work for me is because I'm going off of this old quote and saying that it's not really that smart. Why wouldn't I want to change? Change is great. And oh, by the way, when we look at life, when we look at the natural principle of everything, it changes, inevitable. The seasons change, I mean, months change. I mean, think about like just how society has changed. Everything is changed. The way we used to do education, the way we work, the way we even like family dynamics. So many things are changing. So it's like, why wouldn't I, as a human being, be in alignment with the natural principle on planet Earth and change intentionally? Don't change just because life is changing and it's happening. Changing intentionally, changing in the way, in the direction that we want to change. So it is beyond just taking action. We get to take intentional action, and we get to be mindful as we are keeping the momentum so we don't slip back into old patterns, right? It's about lasting success. And this is your moment. This is your moment. The fact that you are watching this live, whether it's on the recap or whether you're live with me right now, this is your moment to be intentional, to decide like, hey, I want to do this. I want to be more consistent. I want to be more disciplined. And again, you are disciplined, but are you disciplined in the direction that you want to be disciplined? You're already disciplined. You're disciplined. You're having the results that you have. And it's not a bad thing. We just get to be authentic and honest with ourselves and say, oh, I want better results. I want different results. And that's okay, because you're a human. You are blessed with the ability to change your mind on what you agreed to up until this point, or what you tolerated, what you accepted up until this point. You can change your mind. We all can change our mind. That's the beautiful thing about being a human being on planet Earth. There's a lot of flaws being human, right? But one of the most beautiful things about being human is the fact that we can change our mind. We can decide. So as you know, as we're going to close out this challenge, there are a couple of notes that I do want to hit on about, what was your biggest takeaway from this event? Please feel free to share in the comments, but as you continue to take action, as you begin to be more productive, as you begin to train yourself on how to lead yourself to the next steps in your life, think about, I know people say success loves speed, meaning, of course, it's very important. I know we talked about analyzing and thinking through so we can refine our process. But at the end of the day, we can't forget about day one. Day one was about deciding what we're going to do and take action on what we're going to do. It's still about taking action. It's still about speed. And even in this process of analyzing what worked, we get to decide quickly. We don't get to just say, oh, this didn't work, I suck, and stay stuck here. We get to say, okay, this didn't work, whatever. Let me go and let me practice it again. Life is a practice. That's one of the things that I like to remind myself of a lot, is that life is a practice. We get to practice the small, mundane, boring habits, but that are leading us to where we want to be. Right. And so success loves speeds. We just get to take action on the things that work, even if we're not ready, even if we got other things that popped up that are as equal of a priority. We get to just do the things, right? And so that's why it is now to actually choose, like, hey, is this the journey of self-mastery? And not to say self-mastery, because I really believe that life is about us mastering ourselves. It is us who get to choose, like, this is my goal and this is the life that I want and this is the next step. No one's going to do it. Nobody's coming to save us. We get to choose that, right? And so we get to do it, and we get to do it now, right? We get to do it with with all that we have in the best way we know how, right? The people who don't wait for the perfect time, don't wait for the perfect time. The people who win, they don't wait. They just create it. They just make it happen. They just do it. And then they go back and they analyze, okay, how can I do this better? Oh, and by the way, and because this is very real, again, I'm not like trying to celebrate me, but now I know that I can work in any environment, even if it may be, I hope y'all didn't get too much feedback or whatever, but I can work in any environment. Things don't have to be perfect for my business in order for me to do business. Of course, I want things to be professional and I want things to, not be a distraction. But this is happening, right? I just get to create the value. I get to be intentional and not make it about me. I get to say, hey, like, this was my commitment. And yes, I have this other commitment right after, but I get to just do the best that I can. Action alone, it's not enough. Also, what you do next, it determines everything. So doing it with urgency, doing it with intention, right? And think about being consistent. So what are we going to do after today? Because if we do the same results, then the same struggles and then the same frustration. So what can you do differently after this challenge, after today, after we close down today? Fast moving people get fast moving results. So even if, you make a decision and it's the wrong decision, and imagine, so let's say, I'll just say a 24-hour period. Imagine somebody made a decision in the first hour of the day. They take action on the thing. It didn't work, but now they have 22 more hours to actually fix the thing. Versus imagine somebody else, person B, they have 24 hours and they just think about doing the thing, but they don't actually ever do the thing. So now they still in the same spot 24 hours later, versus the person who they made the wrong decision. They did it fast. Now they have time in the same amount of day. They have 22. I'm just using this as an example. 22 hours to actually fix what they messed up. And now they have more evidence. Now they have more wisdom to actually fix it, but then also to actually make the thing right, to actually get to the goal. You can't do it alone. You cannot do it alone. Everybody has a coach. Michael Jackson had coaches and coaches and trainers and stuff like that. Michael Jordan, Beyonce, like, everybody has coaches and consultants and people who are expert in what they're expert in to help them. You know what I'm saying? So we get to create an environment in every level, right? We get to create an environment that is going to support us, that's going to help make us the person that we want to be and to have the goals that we want to have, or it's going to break us and we're going to just struggle and not have it, or at least, or at least have more time doing things that we don't want to do. Most people fail because they try to succeed alone, and there are those people who they do it, and I guarantee you, there were maybe, whispers or whatever, some type of mentor or accountability supporting them to actually be successful in the thing that they actually wanted. Your success is a direct reflection of who you surround yourself with. So, and again, it's at every level. It's not just only in finances. It's not only just in friendship and relationship, or, family, having spirituality. We get to have mentors and we get to have community, that reflects the environment, that reflects the goals and the goals and the success that we want. Not just being in an environment because this is the environment that I was born into, right? So without accountability, most people quit when life gets busy. So like me and my Spanish, I think it's time that I probably, but I don't even want to say this out loud, because if I say it out loud, it may be time for me to hire a Spanish teacher. It may be time for me to hire a Spanish teacher because, I mean, life been busy. Life has been busy. But and I get to reanalyze. Is this even a goal that I want? Because if it is, I don't keep telling people like I want to learn Spanish. I get to plug into a community that won't fail me, and I'm just gonna put that out there. What happens next is I know yesterday we gave out our number in our calendar. I would just go ahead and say, go ahead and text us 757-780-8585. Again, 757-780-8585. And you can text us chat. If you text us chat, then the man and I, we will email you or text you back with a link. So if you want support, and again, this is not a sales call or anything, but we know the power of community. We know the power of accountability. We know the power. We also just have a lot of resources. We have, a community of people who they probably can support you in a way that Devan and I don't. And so we want to make sure that we are connecting people to people who can help them, right? And so if we can, we'll talk to you about 15 minutes, like, what's your biggest challenge? How can we support you? What support are you looking for? And we'll guide you to the next step. If the next step is probably working deeper with us, we'll let you know. But it get to be a mutual agreement. If it's, us just connecting with you to a resource or to somebody else who can support you, we'll do that as well. So that's what that 15-minute chat is about. I think all the it was limited spots, but just text us if you really want to talk to us, 757-780-8585. And again, it's just a chat for us to support you and to take more action, making more progress in your life, helping you get to your next level of your best self, of your purpose. And we will connect you to resources in our community. Okay. And I have had a quote right here. The difference between those who see massive change and those who fail is a plan, structure, and real support. That's a good quote. I'm going to say that quote again. The difference between those who see massive change and those who fail is a plan, structure, and real support. And that's what Devan and I do. We help people restructure their life, because your life is structured in a way. And if it's not working for you, it's not working, but allow experts to come and help you restructure your life. So this challenge was the first step, and we get to keep the momentum going. We get to stay on track, and we, want to continue to provide you with the right guidance. Definitely book a call if you feel called to 757-780-8585, and just continue to post in this thread or wherever you're watching from. We want to know, even if you're watching the recap, what was your biggest takeaway? Because if you share it in the comments and people come back and they watched your recap, then you can empower them to hear different things. You all get to support each other as well. So we don't stay in the same cycles. We get to choose. We get to take action, and we get to reassess. right? And again, I think you all should have that prioritize and thrive worksheet to support you all. But I'm just making sure. I'm gonna wish you productivity, focus, and success. We will see you on the next event. If you want support from me or Devan to help you to restructure your life, to help you get clarity on your next step, definitely go ahead and book a call with us. Text the word chat, CHAT, to 757-780-8585. And we will see you on the next event. And I hope you got a lot of value from this. I hope that you got empowered and got some clarity on what you need to take your next steps to being your next level of taking more action, being more disciplined. And we will see you soon.